Most positions in Jiu-Jitsu follow a predictable path. Someone discovers them, they spread through the competition scene, instructionals get released, before long everyone knows the key battles and the standard counters. The Fishnet never really followed that path. While most of the sport moved in one direction, Shane quietly spent years developing a position that almost nobody else was using. A position that allowed him to consistently off-balance opponents, expose their backs, and create reactions that seemed to funnel directly into his game. Despite using it over and over again in competition, it never stopped working. Part of that is because the position is genuinely unusual, but a bigger part is the depth of understanding behind it. I've trained with Shane many times over the years, and the one thing that became obvious very quickly, he doesn't just know the Fishnet. He sees opportunities for it everywhere. Scrambles, guard exchanges, standing opponents, kneeling opponents. It always feels like he's only a few movements from finding his way back into the position. So in this video, we're going to break down the system that's made the Fishnet such a dangerous weapon in Shane's game, the entries he relies on most, the sweeps and back takes that opponents constantly have to respect, and the small details that make the position so difficult to shut down once it's been locked in. The first thing Shane needs to do when setting up his Fishnet is to pass his opponent's leg across his body. His most common way of doing this is either from the X guard or deep de la Riva. If he's setting it up from the X guard, he can use his hooks to push his opponent's weight off of their lead leg. From deep de la Riva, he has two paths. If they try stay on both their feet, he can pummel his knee behind while they stay standing, or pull them to the floor first and then pummel his knee under after. If instead they drop to their back knee, this often will make their front leg light enough that he can just lift it to the other side with his hands. His first off balance after passing the leg is to use X hooks on the far leg and sit up tall to control the hips. He can then pull them backwards. If his opponents don't try to defend the sweep, it can actually be quite difficult to grab the lockdown, and he will always just take the easy option of coming up on top if allowed. It's when they try to stop him off balancing them and try get back up that he can wrap his legs around, forming the lockdown.
So if you have trouble putting in your lockdown or your Fishnet, you can think of a leg that belongs more in front of your partner and a leg that belongs more behind your partner. The feet might be crossed over, but it's about what side the leg starts on. My leg that belongs more behind is going to be the one that slides down to my partner's shin, and it's my other one that is going to wrap around my opponent's quad and then in behind his leg. So I have my reverse X, I sit up, I pull his hips to the floor. When he gets back up, that leg that belongs behind slides down, other one comes around the top, and now I can put my 2 feet hooking his shin, or I can lock a triangle.
Shane's most common threat from this position is to sweep his opponents backwards to side control. Typically, his opponents will be forced to try and maintain their balance by posting on the floor with their hand. If they post near his head, he can chop their elbow at the same time he chops their head to take away their post and then come up on top. If their hand is a little further away, he then tries to build as much height as possible with his hips first before pushing or pulling their post off the floor. His next most common threat is the back take.
Once I have the Fishnet locked in, my first step is going to be to load my partner up on top of me. From here, I can try pop my head out behind his arm, and then I'm just looking to control the shoulder over here. I can open my lockdown now and hip out behind him so he starts to drop his hips on the floor. And then what's really important is I bring my outside leg in front of the hip. As I bring it in front, I'm going to take my other foot out and start to get up to my knee. I want to get my hips as high up as possible here. And as I'm getting my hips up high, I can start to snake my leg around to form my twister hook. Once I have my twister hook, now I can start to bring them back to the other side, extend them with that leg, and then put my 2 hooks in to finish the back take. Underhook is super common in this position. If I'm trying to deal with it, what I want to do is bridge up off the floor, and then I'm going to be able to dig my arm back underneath for my fishnet. I'm going to have all my same options from here. I can pop my head out and take the back, or I can start to chop him over and come up on top.
Probably the worst thing that can happen from this position is for them to pull their front leg back across your torso, undoing the twist you placed on them.
To stop my opponent pulling their knee back to the other side, I'm going to just take my hand on the same side and make a stiff arm post on this. This is going to stop them from pulling their leg across. I also have the option to take that hand and reach deep for an underhook. This will also act in the same way of blocking the space from the knee coming across my belly.
Probably the strongest part of the fishnet is how niche it is. And because of how much time Shane has put into it, you're basically cooked once he gets you there. For a lot of his opponents, the first time they have ever been in this position is when they're facing him in competition, and by that stage, it's too late. If you like this video and want to learn more entries and finishes from the fishnet, then there's no better person for the job than the man himself. Shane has 2 instructionals on it, one on BJJ Fanatics and one on Jiu Jitsu X. The link to both will be in the description below.